Mamba out.
Drippin', saucy, yeah, bitch, I do this often. My bitch is bad, she always in office. Don't got a tags, I'm running my body. Can't see the pads, I'm living too fast. With 20 my dash, I'm up, but I lost him. He wanna brag, I emptied his bag and took what he had. Don't care what it cost him. Then he broke, he turned to a hoe. It seems before the shit get exhausted. Ran on a hoe, I wanna be known. The stage of my soul, you ran even muscle. I even broke.
It is Sports Now. There's an Aiden coming to you to start the week on a Monday. What's up, everybody? I'm Deshaun. Not Aiden Munson. Thank you for joining us here on Sports Now with Darius Aiden. If you haven't already, make sure to like this video, make sure to subscribe to our channel, make sure to comment down below, and also make sure to hit that bell for post notifications for every video and update from the channel. Today, everybody, we are talking Deshaun Watson and the drama in Houston, or do we call it Houston? We have a problem. Aiden, as we know, we already heard the news about Deshaun Watson, quote unquote, warning out of Houston after the Houston Texans front office now listened to his concerns and his endorsements for the head coach vacancy for the Houston Texans. Of course, the Houston Texans fired Bill O'Brien, I believe, in week 4 of this season, and Deshaun Watson endorsed Kansas City Chiefs coordinator Eric Bieniemy for the head coach vacancy, and the Houston Texans did not listen to him, but now they're interviewing him. So, Aiden, let me get your thoughts on this.
Man, Houston sports have let me down and let me down. For all those viewers out there, before I was a bandwagon Padres fan, I was a outspoken Astros fan until we are now known as the trash can beggars. Now I got to stay in the back and not say anything, or else they're going to say, cheater, 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 and hear it echo through my ears day by day. And now we have the Texans, who have made idiotic move after idiotic move. What we all believe started off this horribleness was when they traded their Pro Bowl left tackle, Dwayne Brown, to the Seattle Seahawks, which, by the way, hasn't helped Russell at all, so it was a dumb trade for both parties. Then ended up having a huge hole at the left tackle position, causing Deshaun Watson to be the most sacked quarterback in the entire league. Then we go on to see them just basically give away Jadeveon Clowney because, again, don't want to pay another high-priced player. And I get that Jadeveon Clowney didn't exactly live up to being the number 1 overall pick. He wasn't exactly the pass rusher that we all thought he would be, but he still has the innate ability to stop the run. Now we're here, not exactly present day, but a little bit before present day, where they traded the literal, most believe, number 1 receiver in the league in DeAndre Hopkins to the Arizona Cardinals for David Johnson, and I don't even care what pick they got because it was dog shit. Then they had the audacity to basically, now they're trying to run J.J. Watt, a Houston legend, out of town, which I understand he is very injury prone and has shown that he cannot withstand a full season, but he deserves the respect of a freaking legend. J.J. Watt, ladies and gentlemen, is a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year and is the, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, all-time sack leader for the Houston Texans. I think that their disrespect. Oh, another one, Andre Johnson, who they literally wasted the career of. The Houston Texans constantly disrespect stars of this league, constantly disregard them. Again, a couple years, not even 2 years ago, Tyrann Mathieu, they just let walk. That man has a Super Bowl ring now. The Houston Texans are atrocious, and it starts with ownership. The problem is not even the front office anymore. They got rid of the front office. They hauled everybody out after they fired Bill O'Brien. This is an ownership problem that unfortunately cannot be fixed. And the fact that you have the audacity to disrespect one of the best, to disrespect, if not top 5, top 10 quarterback in this league, in Deshaun Watson, to, again, he's supposed to be a franchise guy, not include him in any decisions, not include him in hiring a damn GM. This is his team as much as it is anybody else's team. He was supposed to be your future. Now you're here. Now you're here in this situation that you unfortunately can't fix because one, you have no money after paying. His name escaped from me. He is the left tackle. Paid him over $100 million. It's escaping me right now. I will come back to it when I have it. But to end this long little rant and let Darius have the floor until the next question, the Houston Texans have effed up. And this time, it's really bad. It's really, really, really bad.
Well, Aiden, Houston Texans front office has been an embarrassment and pathetic ever since the beginning of this franchise. Right? One quick tweet from Andre Johnson. If I'm Deshaun Watson, I will stand my ground. The Texas organization is known for wasting players' careers. Since Jack Esterby has walked into the building, nothing good has happened in and for the organization, and for some reason, someone can't seem to see what's going on. Pathetic. Those are words from Andre Johnson, the legendary Houston Texans wide receiver. Of course, you just mentioned that how the Houston Texans raised to crime. Well, and move on to Bill O'Brien and decision to trade DeAndre Hopkins for a bag of chips and a cookie to Jadeveon Clowney, just letting him walk to Seattle, and then Tyrann Mathieu. And then guess what? Aiden, I'm pretty sure that the Miami Dolphins, have literally the Houston Texans pick in the draft. So
Let me say something. They have the number 3 overall pick from the Houston Texans. They have their normal pick, which is the number 18 pick. So they're basically set.
All right, Aiden, and the Houston's front offense has made mistakes over and over again in the past couple of years. But with this Deshaun Watson situation going on, this may be the biggest mistake of them all. Look at Deshaun Watson. Look at his stats. He literally has a case to be a top 5 quarterback from a statistical standpoint. But guess what? If the Houston Texans were good, he may be a MVP candidate.
No, Darius. Let me stop you right there. If the Houston Texans were a sensible organization, Deshaun Watson would, without a doubt, be an MVP of this league.
But now,
I'm sorry I had to cut you off there, but I had to make that very clear.
But now you look at the situation with him. It's saddening because, right, we all envision how these Texans were going to be this top contending team, like with the Chiefs and with the Ravens and with the Bills, with the Houston Texans having J.J. Watt and Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins. And now, I believe in the course of the year, the Houston Texans may not even have all 3 of them. They already traded DeAndre Hopkins. He's in a phenomenal situation with the phenomenal young quarterback in Kyler Murray and a legendary wide receiver, Larry Fitzgerald. You look at J.J. Watt. He may even want to go to Pittsburgh and play with his brothers, TJ and Derek, right? He may want to go to Pittsburgh. And you look at the possible winning location for Deshaun Watson, Pittsburgh, Miami. People may even throw out the 49ers out there because of that dynamic defense, right? Even though they had a bad season due to COVID and injuries, they are still going to be a good team for years to come. Well, now with the Texans, that's not the case. This is the case. Look, Brandon Cooks, that's your number 1 wide receiver. Kenny Stills, he was on the weed. He was on drugs, even though that was a mistake by him.
I mean, when you're don't forget Will Fuller was on them substances too. Let's not forget that.
Like, Will Fuller, look, that is not the combination for a successful offense, and especially when you have injury-prone David Johnson, who's only rushed for 691 yards and only 6 touchdowns this season. Last time I saw David Johnson was week 1 against Kansas City. And Aiden, we all know Andre Johnson is a relatively silent man. And when a silent man speaks, you most definitely listen. And that's without a doubt. Now DeAndre Hopkins supported Andre Johnson's statement. We saw a skeptical tweet. By Deshaun Watson saying that he went from 2 to 10. Even though we may take this out of context, Deshaun Watson is probably heated. He is not returning any of these Texas phone calls. He's clearly not want to be there. These Texans have messed up. They've screwed up. And Deshaun Watson deserves.
Actually, to to add to that statement, it was said that the Houston Texans were told that Deshaun Watson was on vacation.
Well,
You know what that means.
he's stop. Y'all know he wants out. That's clear what he's saying. Look,
No, I'm saying he's not anywhere near Texas right now.
right? Because there's no reason to be. Because he wants out. Be there. He doesn't want to be there. Deshaun Watson is a phenomenal player on, and he's a phenomenal human being off the field. Give him to the community of Houston, Texas, to the United States of America, plus the Black Lives Matter movement. Look at Deshaun Watson. He put up MVP numbers. But at the end of the day, these Texans got little to no production at all. From a winning standpoint, J.J. Watt is a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. How many times have they been? How many times have they been to an AFC Championship game? Zero. You drafted Jadeveon Clowney with the number 1 overall pick. A couple years later after that, he's in Seattle, now he's in Tennessee. Right? Look at DeAndre Hopkins, literally arguably the best wide receiver in this game. And you trade him for David Johnson. This team, this front office has made mistakes time and time again, and they have had to pay for the consequences. Now with Deshaun Watson, as I mentioned earlier, this may be the worst mistake of them all because you're losing one of the best quarterbacks in this league, and he doesn't have trust in you. He doesn't believe that this team's going to succeed, and that's why he wants out. He does not want to waste his prime in Houston with a terrible organization. No, this is not going to be Andre Johnson's situation. Deshaun Watson. If I were you, I think I should have reconsidered. Excuse me. I think you should have reconsidered signing that extension with the Texans early in the season. I think he should have reconsidered because I think he knew the terms and the consequences that were going to come with him in a bad situation with a terrible offense and a terrible defense, where they won't be able to succeed, even though Deshaun Watson found a player. Hey, if your team is not winning, you're not going to be in the MVP conversation. Honestly, I'm not. You're not. And Deshaun Watson.
The MVP is meant for the best player on the best team, which is it's a flawed structure, yes, but it serves a very important purpose. The MVP shows that you're not only the best player in the league per se, but it shows that your team has reached a height where they can elevate you to become one of the best players in the league in a way where Deshaun Watson's organization and team has failed him in a way. Now, I do agree with you on that Now, I do agree with you on that contract thing where let me rephrase that. I disagree and agree. I agree in a way where he shouldn't have even stayed within 600 feet of the Texans organization when he became a free agent this coming up year. He would have gotten a chance to go anywhere he would have wanted. I also disagree in a way where that contract still has a no trade clause. He can go wherever he pleases. This is basically free agency.
No.
In a nutshell, with some limitations.
No, with the no trade clause, you just can't literally say, hey, I'm just going to get out here and go to Houston, or get out here and go to Pittsburgh or San Francisco or Miami. No.
Well, yeah. Obviously, there's a lot more complicated things towards it because it's a freaking contract. But with everything written, there's always a loophole.
With the no trade clause, the Houston Texans want to trade Deshaun to, let's say, random team. Let's say he wants to trade him to the Eagles. Deshaun Watson literally sit up here and say, no, I don't want to go there. I want to go to Miami. And the trade will not go through. The Eagles will not acquire Watson at all. No deal will be done. Deshaun Watson has pretty much all the power of which team he can go to. And the team right now he does not want to play for is the Houston Texans. That's obvious. There's my thing with the no trade clause. Of course, with the extension, Deshaun Watson's going to get some money. He's going to get money. But would you put money over the chance where you're going to be with an organization that is going to be trash, one of the worst teams in the league for many years to come? Do you want to waste your prime like Andre Johnson did in Houston? You don't want to do that. No. Look at Andre Johnson. He is literally one of the most talented wide receivers I have ever seen on the football field. But since he was in the Houston Texans uniform for so many years during his prime, He does not get as much respect.
Yeah, he had the perfect build. He was the 6'3", 220 big time possession receiver with a big body, but he never had the quarterback, like, at all. I think he had 1 year of Deshaun Watson, and that year he got injured, and they released him.
Look, man, it's getting ridiculous with the Texans. They made so many mistakes. Look, especially with them not listening to Deshaun Watson for his endorsement for Airbnb. I believe they're interviewing Airbnb today. At this moment, they're interviewing today. But they're going to interview him earlier. Guess what? If I was some of the top head coaching candidates right now, the Houston Texans will be at the bottom of my list because I know that the front office will not listen to my point of view. If I was Airbnb, I wouldn't even touch the Houston Texans job. That's obvious. I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't even consider it at all. We all have love for Deshaun Watson. We all have love for J.J. Watt. We all have love, right, for those other phenomenal players, Kenny Stills and Brandon Cooks and Will Fuller, David Johnson. We all have love for them. But we damn sure don't have love for the Houston front office. Aiden, do you have any words?
I just for a brief moment want to go over his choices and discuss some of his choices. I know this video is going to feel like a rant video in the beginning, but I hope you have stuck to the end. This is the part where we get to discuss the fun stuff, where he might plan on going. Obviously, there have been many names that have been thrown out in that field, such as the Miami Dolphins, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I would even throw the 49ers or the Indianapolis Colts in that situation, even though that it would be unlikely. Truth be told, my pick for him and where I believe that it would best suit him is either Miami, Pittsburgh, or the 49ers. Those are my choices. Miami is my number one because, one, I don't know why, but for some reason, the organization and the players don't have faith in Tua, which is absurd and obscene. I like Tua. I think he's a phenomenal quarterback. I think he's a phenomenal guy, and I think he will be a great player in this league. But I don't want to necessarily put Tua with the Texans. Like, I know it would be a good trade-off for those teams, but Tua's going to get his career ruined if he goes anywhere near there. So I, per se, could do Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh would be a nice place to go. They have the right coaching situation and things of that nature. And the 49ers. The 49ers have a phenomenal team that they can put behind them. What do you think about that situation, Darius?
Right, of course, Miami. I think that is number one on the Deshaun Watson list, of course. Look at San Francisco. That means Deshaun Watson has capable wide receivers and a phenomenal running back, Raheem Mostert and Deebo Samuel, a phenomenal tight end, George Kittle. Don't forget about that. Of course, that defense is dynamic. DeBosa's going to come back. Fred Warren's going to come back. Right, even though they don't have to force back into still a dynamic defense, even though the defense coordinator Robert Salas is now the head coach of the New York Jets, they are still a dynamic defense. So I would Deshaun Watson consider that. Now with Pittsburgh, it depends on what situation they want to do. Do they want to keep Big Ben, or would they just consider giving him up? That's the situation for Pittsburgh. Now there are some other teams out there who I believe could use Deshaun Watson, even though some lower tier teams like Denver, of course, maybe New England, that's been thrown out there for some. But the most realistic right now is either Miami, Pittsburgh, or the San Francisco 49ers. Thank you for joining us here on Sports Now. There is Aiden. If you haven't already, make sure to make sure to channel with the comment down below, and make sure that bell for false notifications for video and update from the channel. Until then, everybody, we'll see you tomorrow. I'm Darius. Until then, everybody, peace and love.